What is up, Bridge Runner Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Ridge Runners Live. Tonight, guests from Race Brimstone. We've got Eric and Jeremy over here to talk about the Run Devil Run 200 miler here in not the West Coast, in Ohio. So that's exciting to see a 200 mile over here. I'm excited to hear all about it. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm coming off a little bit of a cold, so if I sound nasally tonight, I apologize. Cam, how about you? How are you doing over there?
I'm doing just fantastic. I may have accidentally fallen asleep on the couch post-run, but woke up from that in time to join the show. And I'm really excited to hear about this race. You know, there's not a lot of races that got me thinking about going back to Ohio right now, but I'm definitely interested in this one and interested to hear what these guys have to say.
Nice.
Yeah, well, with the weather right now, we're looking for races outside Ohio. We want to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, it was like a blizzard yesterday out of nowhere, and I'm like, what is this shit?
Yeah, it snowed for an hour, then it rained, then the sun came up, then it started all over again. It was like Mother Nature was on crack big time yesterday.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be 80s this weekend, so yeah. That's how it's going for us here in Ohio. Let's start off with what we always like to start off with here. What are you guys drinking over there?
We are drinking Hoist Hydration.
Hoist Hydration? I have never heard of it.
Have you ever heard of it?
Nope.
No.
So Hoist Hydration provides the military with their hydration drinks. And they reached out about sponsoring Eagle Up this year. And they do a lot with Team RWB. So we brought them on board. And now Hoist is one of our big sponsors for Eagle Up this year. And we're going to bring them into some of our other races as well. But the stuff is amazing. It's like IV level. Yeah.
So just like an electrolyte style, like
it's electrolyte on steroid drink. It's pretty potent. It's so easy on the stomach. It's amazing. So I've been drinking it like crazy. I drink one every day now. I keep having them send them to me. Give me more.
Nice.
It's like liquid spree candy. Oh.
That sounds delicious.
Okay.
I'll have to check this out. Cam, what are you drinking over there?
So we have had our fair share of spring and not so spring weather. I wish. But I've got a Bayern Maybach lager, which is apparently like a springtime kind of thing, at least according to the label. So got a couple of these in front of me. Hopefully, I'm going to manifest some better springtime weather here for Montana. And it has been pretty sunny today, so that's been good.
Nice. I've got myself an Athletic Light brewing company, the light beer that they just recently came out with. Figured I could take it a little easy, still trying to come off of this cold. But yeah, let's get into tonight's show. So let's just go right into it. 200 miles here in Ohio. Like, why? Why do you guys decide to put this on?
Yeah, because there aren't any out here. I know, years ago we all started running the hundreds thinking it was cool and fun, and it still is. I still love, that's still my favorite distance. But you know how we all are in today's society. We just want more. And, it's kind of carrying on to the running too. We all want to run farther, hit 150. And then the next thing you know, it's like Jeremy and I were kind of just talking about this. We talked about this a while ago. A couple of years ago, maybe, about should we ever do this? I'm like, it would be a nightmare.
And we started talking about like unsupported, and then this past year we started talking about, well, let's do a fully supported one. There's nothing like that around here, so it's something unique that isn't here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very unique, and it's, even though it's on, like, we'll get to the course, I'm assuming a little bit later here, second, but like, it's a good way for someone out here on the East Coast to more attainably get a 200 mile in. You don't have to go as far as the West Coast and stuff like that. And, those are also difficult in their own right. As you were saying before the show, there's no dangerous animals in Ohio to be worried about. So, you could run pretty comfortably at night and not have to like carry some bear spray with you or anything like that.
Yeah. There's nothing out here that's going to kill you,
The Sasquatch jumps out.
Yeah, maybe a squatch or a rabid raccoon or something like that.
Nice.
Or another pissed off runner. I don't know.
Yeah, you're more got to worry more about cars in this one than anything else, probably.
Yeah, but it's I know we're not West Coast with all like we're talking about no mountains and all that crazy stuff that it sounds cool and fun, and those races are cool, but out here it really is it's very scenic, and you get a little bit of everything. You've got there's parts of the course that you run through the city. Most of it's through some historic towns. I mean it's cool, and it's flat and it's fast. And one of the things that we're actually doing is we're getting the course sanctioned and certified so that people can come out here on this flat course and run 200-mile records, get 200-mile records.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because that would seem like that would be a good selling point for this, given the fact that it is flat. And, especially in the evenings, I think people will be able to get some good pacing in when the sun goes down and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, the reason we were going to do it right off the bat was Arlen told me, he said, if you certified the course, I'll come and break the course record on day one. I said, okay. So we're certifying it for him. So hopefully he stays healthy through Western states, and he plans on coming out and running it this year. So
that would be quite cool to see what he does at 200 distance, because, he is a fantastic 100-mile runner.
He is. Be interesting to see what he does with 2.
So, but yeah, I could see a lot of records getting shattered there for the 200-mile distance indoor set.
It could be pretty interesting. We got some good runners already signed up. It's pretty cool, interesting to see.
So,
what's the old guy? Tim Crow. Yeah.
Okay, shirtless Crow, or which is also that's the Sasquatch that's going to come out after you later.
Yeah.
Got to watch out for that one.
We're just teasing them.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about this course a little bit more. So like you're saying, it's flat, it's towpath. You're going to run up to Cleveland and back. That it is scenic up there. Once you get through like Akron and you get back onto like the national park area, it's very scenic through that area. What would the runners should they expect on the entire course? Some of the cool spots along this course, and aid stations and kind of those things.
Well, they're going to start at Camp Tuscazor, where we host the Tuscazor 100, obviously, and they're going to run down and jump on to the towpath trail down at Route 800, and they're going to run right up through. The first thing they go through is that Fort
Lawrence.
Fort Lawrence. It's a historical site. And then they'll be taking a lot of the southern part. You go through a lot of historical towns. It's kind of wide open in some areas, and most of the time you're going along the Tuscarawas River or the Ohio Erie Canal. So you've got one or the other or both right next to you almost the entire route. You come up into there's a couple of city spots where you do run a little bit through right by downtown Massillon. You're running right up the side. Not the side of the highway, but you're on the trail right next to the highway, running through down the side of Massillon and coming up into Barberton. Akron, it gets a little interesting too because you go over this big floating bridge for maybe a quarter to a half a mile, and that's where you go up into downtown Akron, and that's kind of cool because you're running right through downtown Akron, right next to the minor league ball field. There's some beautiful graffiti bridges. I mean, it's very scenic for being urban right off the bat, getting into Akron. And then once they get out of Akron, that's where you start going up into the CVNP, and it starts getting, more outdoorsy, woodsy, and it's pretty beautiful up there on your way up to Cleveland.
And then once you get up to Cleveland, you get some beautiful skylines of Cleveland as you're coming into town. As you're making your way over to Edgewater Park, some nice bridges and
lots of bridges.
Yeah.
A couple cool tunnels, I think, or that one tunnel.
Yeah, a couple tunnels, yeah. You'll hit a tunnel up north, one down south, so there's a few of them. But yeah, you just got a little bit of everything thrown at you. But again, it's relatively flat. There's one hill, on Vanderhoof Road that you got to go up and down, and it's a bear.
Once you get into Cleveland, you get a little bit of rolling stuff, but nothing major. Another cool thing is, since you do go through these towns and stuff, if you got your crew there, it's easy for them to get something that you want specific, right? So if you want something like Eric would want, like a Big Mac or something from McDonald's, it's right there. It's right there and easy for them to get. If you want a pizza or whatever that we wouldn't necessarily maybe have at an aid station, it's easy for your crew to pick something up. Yeah. And also, it's easy with the way we have the race set up, that if you are planning on kind of taking a few days, if you want to maybe get a hotel or Airbnb, get off the course, go to the Airbnb, come back, get back on the course.
We're still kind of working on that, though, the parameters of that, of allowing the runners to go off the course. Because if it's certified, we're going to have to be very careful with how far they can go.
Well, we kind of have it pretty set.
But they have sleep stations. They need to rough it and just sleep on the side of the trail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually one thing when kind of learning about this course and, you know, it being both an out and back and along the towpath, I'm really interested not only in sort of the creation of this course specific to this idea, and I'm not sure, you know, whether you had the idea, hey, let's put on a 200 miler, or let's run a 200 miler on the towpath first, or kind of how that came about, but in just kind of like how you created this sort of like this thing, for a worse way of putting it, and, you know, this experience, you know, because it's definitely a different kind of experience in sort of like the 200-mile space. So I guess there's not really a question in there, so let me word it as one.
I think I got what you're trying to say.
Well, okay. If you look at Race Brimstone, Jeremy and I have tried to make every single race different. You know, we have the primer race, the beginning of the season, the 25K, 50K, 50 miler right off the bat. And, you know, that goes into, then we've got Eagle Up, the 24-hour event, which Jeremy is taken over for my partner this year. Steve's retiring. So we got the 24 hours. Then we've got a Nomies race down at Camp Tuscazor, which is 25K, 50K. It's in a few weeks. And that one's just a brutal, rugged, single track. You know, this is just to wet your taste buds a little bit for Tuscazor 100. Then, of course, we have the Tuscazor 100. And then lastly, we have the Whispering Grace 100, which is a 3.5 mile loop around a horse farm, you know, to support veterans. And so we've got pretty much a lot of the races covered, minus the 5K. And we thought, you know, let's do something cool. And
I think we did originally think, let's do a 200, but we were like, well, how are we going to do it? What are the logistics going to be? Where are we going to have it? And then one day it just kind of was like, hey, let's do a fast, flat 200. It gives a lot of different, it's a different 200 than a lot of other 200s. Mm-hmm. Like we could go somewhere and put on a 200 that would go all through the woods and hills and everything else. But it's still through the woods and hills, kind of, it's not the same as out west, but it's kind of the same concept. This is kind of different because it's fast, flat. You know, it's like,
let's get somebody to break some 200-mile records. Let's have some fun with this, make a flat, fast race and see what people do with it. So we're excited over the next few years just to see what people really do with this. If they come out here and they actually go after 200-mile records.
Or you get people who are curious about trying a 200, but they're kind of nervous about going out in the mountains and spending all that money on something. Well, let's try this one first, you know, and see how a flatter one works out for us and go from there. So it's it has a lot of different appeals to different people.
At half the price.
Yeah, that's definitely good. And I think, you know, one thing that I've been thinking a lot about recently is just about like expectations, you know, and like how that affects your your experience of something. And I think y'all are both doing a really great job of being like, this is not a wilderness 200. You know, you're not going to be out somewhere where, you know, there's zero chance of cell reception, where you need that spot tracker with that emergency SOS button just for your own safety. If you're, you know, even backpacking or mountain biking or something, much less trying to run an ultra. And so do you think that having a 200 kind of in this space of like different expectations, how do you think that, I guess, in a way, like changes the experience? Because I don't know of any 200 quote unquote. I know there's like 48 hours and those kinds of events that aren't in wilderness areas, of course, but something that is also still scenic, but is, you know, it's something that is a different experience from those other things. And it's much more probably manageable and easier to kind of wrap your head around, you know, like I can think about the towpath. Like I've run on that, definitely not 200 miles, but I know what it's like to be out there at all times of the day when it's humid, when, you know, my feet hurt, those sorts of things. So I guess, put me a little bit more into like your sort of sense of like expectations for this race and how like, or I guess, you know, is it important to fill that sort of different niche at this distance?
I think so. You know, we don't want to continue doing the same thing that everybody else does, and you know, we kind of felt the need for this race too. It's East Coast. It's not like all the other 200 milers. You know, and the cool thing, I particularly like out and backs, very long out and backs. I do like a good point to point, but the out and backs are kind of neat because on the way back, or on the way there, if you're slow like me, you get to see everybody coming back and forth. So, I mean, it's just kind of it boosts you up a little bit. It's fun to see a friend out there and chat for a couple seconds or a couple minutes, and, you know, the coming and going of people, and you're not going to be alone forever, you know, unless you're Arlen and you're out front. Well, no, he'll even see everybody on the way back. So you know, it's just again, it's just something different, something unique, and something again to have some fun with. You know, you can be an elite runner and go out west and try to break records on those courses. I think that's really cool. But then to come out to one of these fast courses to where you can really hoof it for 200 miles straight and see what's in the tank, that's a little bit different. You know, you're not, you know, people aren't going to want to stop and rest as much. They want to go. But then you got a lot of people like somebody like myself. I wouldn't go out there and try to beat anything. I just want the experience of running a fun 200 and having the time to do it. You know, knowing that I can be slow, knowing that I could take a couple naps here and there, knowing I can walk a lot. And, you know, we got people that just want the experience. And to be able to say, hey, I did a 200 miler, you know, whether they walked half of it or not, so what? It's cool.
I think it could almost be more fun. I mean, not that a 200 miler out west isn't fun, but to be able to see your crew as much as you'll be able to see them at this race and see other runners and just other people on the towpath.
A little bit more of a relaxed environment.
Yeah, especially
while you're killing yourself.
Well, and especially for a mid-pack runner or a pack runner, you know, you're not out there alone all that time, not seeing anyone. You know, you kind of have a little bit more support and fun along the way because you're seeing other people and interacting with people a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I kind of like about this kind of concept so far is, you know, you're going to be able to get more contact with people. You know, you're not doing 30, 35, 40 miles without seeing crew. You're going to be able to see them way more frequently probably than that. The accessibility to be able to get stuff, whereas like those, you know, some of the more remote ones, you don't have the ability to go and get things like you were talking about earlier. Like
you
Big
can't
Macs.
just have your crew order a pizza and grab you a coffee in the middle of nowhere, you know. Now, you know, you can run like a king.
And because it's not like you're not doing 60,000 feet of climbing, you know, you could walk this whole thing. Someone could hike this entire 200 miles and finish with a lot of time to spare.
Yep.
So that's like, you know, that's nice to think about. Like you could just see how long you could walk. You could still
and they're
finish.
going to have one heck of a big buckle waiting for them when they're done.
How big is this buckle?
It's big.
Nice.
Is it big enough that I could wear it to a rodeo out here and people are going to stare?
It's big enough you might look like a WWE wrestler.
I love that.
Maybe not that big, but it's big.
Eric tends to exaggerate with size of things.
Yeah, everything's big in Ohio.
Yeah, and so you mentioned, and I believe now this might have been in the pre-show. I can't quite remember because we were chatting a little bit before we went live. But you thought about doing it kind of unsupported. Just put the course out there, and everybody's you're running through Akron, Ohio. You mentioned it. You've got everything you could kind of want out there. And for me personally, I draw a lot of inspiration from like bike packing races where that is sort of the standard, where they say start and everybody starts at the same point, and then there is stop at a bike shop, stop at a Wendy's, do whatever you want, but no aid stations, no nothing like that. Tell us about the decision to not do that, to go away from that, and to make this more of that sort of like classic ultra marathon style, where there's going to be an aid station blaring music at 4 a.m. and somebody's going to be stoked to see you, no matter how bad you're feeling.
Have you ever been to any of our races?
I have been to a couple of them.
Okay, so you've seen the spread, the food, the music, and everything. I don't think Jeremy and I are capable of putting on a race and just sitting there not doing anything to take care of people. I think I would feel too lazy.
We did talk about doing an unsupported
100.
Yeah,
and that might happen someday, but I don't know. I think we both just kind of like the idea of 200 because it's more than 100. And when it comes to the food and stuff, 200 miles for a lot of people, including myself, with no support, that could be a little scary. And we want, like with our other races, we want to make this, we want people to come and have a good time. You're going to suffer enough as it is. We don't want people to have to suffer to the point where they're sleeping at gas stations and eating ho-hos and just dying out there. We want to at least have them enjoy dying. So I don't know. I just think that's, in keeping like some of the other really good 200s that are out there, we wanted, to kind of follow suit with taking care of the runners and being able to meet their needs while they're out there doing this. I think that's important to both of us. So we'll do a kill 'em race later.
Absolutely. And for the folks who do want to, sleep in the ditch or like at a gas station or something like that, there is always the option of, Camp Tuscasor's open. Yeah. Or Camp Tuscasor's open to the public. You can probably leave your car there. I don't know about the 3 or 4 days it might take you. They might have some questions.
You know what? I guarantee you there's going to be a couple people. There might be a lot of people that do it without crew because, quite frankly, there's going to be plenty of aid stations and water stops. And yeah, there are places along the way where they could jump into a gas station or a restaurant, eat whatever. They're right on the trail. There's restaurants. There's a sushi bar on the trail. When you get into Akron Peninsula Road down past Akron, you can stop and eat sushi, pizza, subs, whatever you want, and then you can take a nap right next door in the woods or on the side of the ditch if you want. So, or you can, go to the sleep station every 50K, we're going to have a sleep station. So I think there's going to be like three up and the same 3 on the way down. So the runners will have a chance where they could actually lay down and sleep, but we'll limit them. I think they have like a 4-hour limit to sleeping. I don't know, or we might dump water on their head while they're sleeping. Just depends on how grumpy we are because we won't be sleeping.
Fair enough. Got a great question in the chat from Alex Jackson. It says, do you think runners will possibly be slowed down by having frequent access to their crew as opposed to having to go long stretches without it in other 200s?
That could slow you down in any race, and I am the king of doing that. When I see my crew, every 100 mile that I run, when I see my crew, if I see Scott Bach waving in the distance, I go run into him. It's like a commercial, and just I just want to sit there and talk to him for 20 minutes and eat, and But, if you have a goal and a mission and, there are people that are very well disciplined to limit their time.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you talk to your crew and your crew knows what your goal is and you have a good crew, they should be able to shoo you out of there, right?
You just tell them,
keep
hey,
on moving.
5 minutes. Don't give me 5 minutes, or they don't even have to meet them at every aid station. The crew can meet them. They can plan it to where they're not seeing their crew. They can do whatever they want. But yeah, the crew can slow you down if you're just a dorky fun runner like me. If you want to go out there and accomplish something fast, then you got to have a plan.
Yeah, I think that's the key is for your crew to know your plan and kind of know your strategy and kind of have a plan going into it, so they don't slow you down too much and they keep you moving, kick you back out. I've crewed a lot of people and I'm pretty good at, hey, it's time to go. Get up. You got 30 seconds to move.
But when you're out there after 15 miles and you run out of Copenhagen, you're going to want your crew, so it's important.
There's gas stations though, so you could get it.
There's plenty of places to buy Copenhagen along this course. But I do have to say, I really appreciate that perspective of, so often spending a lot of time with your crew is really framed as like a negative thing. And in fact, AJ's comment immediately brought to mind, the FKT holder on Nolan's 14, Joey Campanelli, I think is the guy. He said, he's like, you should do it unsupported no matter what, because if you have a crew, you'll just spend too much time with them. Yeah. And I really think that
you have a runner like Arlen, and for 100 miles, his total amount of time spent with his crew is 8 minutes for an entire 100 miler. That's nothing. So again, if you have a plan and you stick with it and your crew makes you stick to it, it's okay. If you have a fun crew like me, you're in trouble.
See, I'm on that page because for Canal, I was like 2 hours of aid station stops.
Yeah, and I know Scott's probably watching this right now thinking Eric is such an idiot. I'll make him, Scott, let me sleep for 20 more minutes, 2 more hours. I think I slept for 2 hours at Badger in the car. Come on, Eric, you got to go. You got to go. So, sorry.
No, that's okay. And I'll be honest, Arlen spending 8 minutes with his crew makes sense, but I think I spent more than 8 minutes taping John's feet at Burning River 100 last year.
Yeah.
Probably. That was a rough one.
Yeah. But so, John, you take this one.
I was going to say, how do you think the weather's going to play into these attempts for these fast times? August can be pretty brutal on an exposed course.
Can be. Well, it's not all exposed, so there is a lot of shade, but there is a lot of open sun too. So, just like any other race, you've got to plan for this stuff. If you're going to Badwater, you think you're going to get sunburned? A little bit. You got to plan for it, with the proper clothing. And again, that's where your crew comes into place, man.
Say, another good reason to have your crew. They're going to make sure you're hydrating and everything you need to do, getting your sunscreen on and everything, to help you keep moving as quick as you can. So,
well, we might get a little rain. You just don't know. It's Ohio. It might even snow one of the days. I mean, at this rate, it might still be snowing. Yeah, I think that the heat, if you're not a good heat runner, it could slow you down. Definitely.
Yeah. And so my question then was, we've talked a lot about it seems to be there's two different kinds of experiences that are possible to have at this race. There's for lack of a better way of putting it, there's Arlen and there's Eric, right? And how do you go about as a race director planning for both of those experiences and executing for them both, because I'm sure not only have elite guys like Arlen been like, I've gotten to the aid station and it wasn't set up yet, versus there are back of the packers who are like, I got to the aid station and I was still 2 hours before cutoff, but they were tearing down and all they had left was like a stale bag of gummy bears for me, like not even water. And how do you,
first of all, we will never, ever run out of food at one of our aid stations. I think we've proven ourselves on that one. we always overshot because Jeremy has a lot of kids. So all that extra food, man, they live off that for a couple of weeks. I get all the Coca-Cola. He gets all the food.
Mm-hmm.
No, we know that when we have fast runners, we always get those aid stations up early. It's just like with our 50-mile 50Ks. We get people down there. They're setting up the aid stations hours before the race even starts, making sure that they're ready for the fast guys. And we have somebody there. We overplan when it comes to food and water and make sure that every single runner, I don't care how slow they are, every runner is treated the same. Every runner is going to have access to the same food, same everything. And we will make sure, because again, we design a lot of our races like Eagle Up and Tuscazor.
Mm-hmm.
We to take care of people. We want the people that aren't quite so elite like Arlen to come out and have a good experience. So they need to be taken care of, just like the fast people. I'd be pissed if I went to a race as one of the slow guys and there wasn't food there. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, and it's fun to see both of those people too, right? It's fun to watch the fast guys, but at the same time, it's fun to see those people that stick it out, and they're there right to the bitter end to make the cutoff. So you just have both ends of it, and they're both really fun people to watch run.
The fly guys come, the fast guy by grabbing a few things, and then the slow people like me and Jeremy, we'll go in and we'll sit there and wait 20 minutes for them to make an omelet for us or whatever else. I don't care. I'm hungry. Make it fresh.
You watch the fast guys go through, and you're like, man, that's impressive. Look how fast they're going. But then you have the people that are sticking it out that are slower, and you're like, man, that's impressive, man. They're tough and sticking it out. So it's really, we respect all the different runners. So we try to cater to all the different runners because we're not those fast guys. We're the mid-packers. We're the back-the-packers. But we know how to take care of the fast guys and the slow guys.
We know what we want in a race, so we give it. That's the cool thing about being partners with Jeremy is we both want the same thing out of a race. So it's very easy for us together to take care of all the runners because we treat them like we want to be treated at a race.
Which is well-fed and lots of Coke. And
well-fed, lots of Coke.
All about
good
those
spirit.
And, happy volunteers.
Yeah.
And good music.
And, good music. Jeremy doesn't like reggae too much, though.
No.
I think I figured him out at the last race.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that would be interesting to talk about is this part of the race where the participants can leave. I read about this a little bit reading the course description, in a way where they basically like drop their bib at a certain aid station and then they can leave and go sleep in an Airbnb or sleep in a bed or get a proper shower or something, or even go sit at Rockies and have a full dinner if they want to. I mean, whatever they want to do,
right.
But it's very interesting because I don't see that in a lot of races.
Well, they just can't take the bib with them.
Yeah. So I went out and attempted to do Cocodona 250 last year. And this was kind of the model that they had set up, and I really liked it. I thought it was good. I didn't utilize it, but I thought it was a really nice model, the way they had it set up. So you can come into an aid station and say your crew's there and they're going to take you any of the places you just mentioned. You can turn in your bib to the aid station captain with your timing chip, and you can leave. And as long as you come back to the same place and get your timing chip and bib, and you start before the cutoff of that aid station, you can just keep on going. So you can leave and come back, but you can't take your bib with you. That's just basically how it's set up, and it seems like it'll work good.
Yeah, that would sound quite amazing, actually, to get a full shower in or something, or just sleep in a nice bed.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. If you're fairly local,
we should have called this the bougie 200.
I know.
Or you have friends that are fairly local. So like myself, I live literally like a mile off the towpath. If I wanted to come into Canal Fulton, I live 2 miles from the aid station, Canal Fulton here. If I came into the aid station here and I said, hey, I'm going to go home and take a shower and take a nap, I could turn in my bib here, go home, get a shower, nap, eat, come back. 4 hours later or whatever I needed to, and jump back on the race from the same point I left it. And that's the other nice thing about if you're a local runner and you have those friends or even yourself living close, it's something you can definitely utilize and take advantage of.
Yeah. We got people that do it during Eagle Up. I had last year. I had somebody.
I did it during Eagle Up.
I had somebody leave to go to a wedding and come back and run the rest of the night.
That's awesome.
And people leave for their kid's soccer game, come back and finish the race. It's pretty entertaining.
That's pretty awesome. Tim Crow joined us in the chat here.
Oh man, we're in trouble.
Yeah, he says, "What's up with all this negative energy on 420 Day?" Which I have to say, there is no negative energy here, Tim. No, none whatsoever. Even Wesley said that Tim's going to win regardless of who shows up. Right there, that's some positive energy right there.
Yeah. Tim always has my vote.
So let's see here. I guess I'm drawing a blank here, Cam. I had a question and I lost it. Just gone.
Kind of, yeah. No worries there. I would like to hear Jeremy and Eric talk a little bit more about the towpath, because the towpath is one of those things where it's not something that a lot of people, I think, actually believe is in Ohio, and it's a line that connects, especially depending on what other trails you can use, that whole sort of like Cleveland area down to the rest of the state. And you're essentially going to be spending most of your time on this course, I believe, like 190 out of 200 miles on the same towpath. And talk a little bit about why you think that's like a good choice for this race beyond, just logistics, right? It's all in sort of like, it's on one line, but talk about what that kind of makes the experience like when you're spending almost all of your time out there. And it's kind of just like, we start in Dover and we run to Cleveland and back, because that's something, even if you have family,
it goes all the way down to Cincinnati, from Cincinnati to Cleveland. But most of the scenic stuff, not to knock on the South, but there's a lot of off the path roads and stuff when you go farther past Zor and Bolivar down there. So most of the, from Zor to Cleveland is all towpath. It's, it's wooden bridges, wooden walkways. Some of it's paved, some of it's crushed limestone. There's a lot of locks on the canal. We even have a working canal boat here in Canal Fulton that's going to be going up and down the canal while people are running. So there's just a lot more. I think it's a little bit more scenic. And now I haven't seen a lot of it down south, so I don't know for sure. And plus, since we live up here and we know these trails and we've ran them for so many years, it just seemed like the perfect place. It just you get a little bit of everything in that 100-mile stretch, and you get it twice. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. And I also think, you both have mentioned, like the towpath really is beautiful, but it's not beautiful the way, like a scenic view of like the Tetons or something is beautiful. So tell us, tell us about
mountain top and
Go ahead.
I keep interrupting. I'm sorry, man. I'm really tired.
No, it's okay. I want to let you speak your piece, right? But it's just, tell us, why you find the towpath beautiful, and kind of what are some of the things that runners should be looking out for to kind of enjoy on this, because it's not going to be that mountain vista. It's a different kind of beautiful.
It's beautiful because it's a lot of history. It's a lot of historical towns, a lot of history along that towpath. So much has happened at the locks and the guardhouses, and there's just it's beautiful. It's hard to explain. You're right. It's not the mountaintops. It's not oceans. It's a canal and a river with a trail going right through the middle of it. But there's so much history that people are unaware of. These towns are haunted even. It's just,
And
it's cool like that.
And it's peaceful too. Especially if you get in the evening, in the early mornings, through the night. Of course, it's going to be peaceful because it's nobody else going to be out there. But
and there's deer everywhere.
There's deer. There's wildlife. You're going to see muskrat, beaver,
turtles, coons.
Lots of turtles. There's lots of wildlife. Bald eagles.
And none of them will bite you.
Yeah, nothing's going to kill you. So that's
except
a bonus.
for Tim Crow.
Except for Tim Crow.
But it's very peaceful. I've done it. We've all done a lot of early morning runs on there, or late evening into the night, and the frogs chirping, the fog coming off of the water on the canal with the ducks swimming by. It's very peaceful.
It's a very serene, calm trail. It's just beautiful. And at that time of the year, during the day, there's going to be a lot of people out there. There's going to be other runners. There's going to be, people on their bikes. That there's going to always be somebody around them, until it gets late at night.
And what's nice is you think of all the chaos around, right? The cities, you go through downtown Akron, but you're on this trail and it's just peaceful, with all this chaos around you. So, I mean, it's like we said, it's not the mountains, but there's something about the towpath that is very.
If I lived out west, I would be running through the mountains all the time too, and that would be my peaceful place. Being here in Ohio, where we run is a lot of the towpath, and that's kind of our peaceful place here on the East Coast.
You don't have the cars to worry about running you over and all that kind of good stuff too. So.
Or getting lost. You can't get lost on the towpath unless something's wrong. It's either straight up and straight down. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah. And I got to add to that peaceful comment. So when I ran canal, the ran canal corridor, so a lot of that course is very similar. And
oh yeah,
it is
beautiful race.
It's just it is very peaceful. I was able to just zone out and just go, and just like you said, the fog, the ducks in the morning, all that stuff, is very real, and it was very peaceful. And so I think it would be, if anyone who's not experienced something like that, it would be a very different and cool experience to anybody who wants to come from out west to try this race out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's no different. A lot of people on the East Coast, we're so used to this. We want to go try something mountainous and different. And why, if I was on the West Coast, I'd be jonesing for something flat and fast and easier.
But. Couple questions in the chat here. Tim Kerr wants to know, Eric, how do I get one of those Ultra shirts?
I'll mail you one, brother.
And you want to talk about what that is real quick, briefly?
Yeah. Last couple of years, me and a few friends, they're IT guys that work for the federal government, we designed and built out a new race registration platform for race directors all over the U.S. and a couple countries now, to put their races up. We wanted to do something a little bit different. We just launched a couple months ago, and what we did was we partnered up with Team Red, White, and Blue, Team RWB, and for every runner from every race, we are donating a percentage of our service fees from UR Ultra to Team RWB for their veteran programs. And like I said, we wanted to do something. Jeremey and I like to give back. For every one of our races, we always donate to somebody. Team RWB, different charities, Whispering Grace, Camp Tuscazor. We've given them a lot of money to keep the camp going. And now we had an opportunity to do it at a bigger scale. So we spent 2 years building out this race platform, and it just went live. It's urultra.com. And, I still have some of my other races on the other websites until they're completed, because we had to have them up, obviously. But we've got several on there so far. And like I said, it's a really neat, unique platform. And we got some pretty cool things coming, lots of changes that we're still making to it. And we build the races out for the race director if they would like us to. And we do a lot of one-on-ones with people. So we're trying to do the best we can as far as customer service, where we try to be right on top of things to give that race director exactly what they need.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I hope it goes
You guys
well.
want shirts too?
I'll take one. I'm excited to see where it goes in the future, and spice it up because I mean, run sign up is itself, but then there's ultra sign up, which everyone knows. But
there's a few of them. I mean, you've got some good platforms out there, but we wanted something that was going to be different, unique, and again, we wanted to be able to give back at a bigger scale, on a larger scale. So, over time it's growing. We got some big races on there now, and we've got some big ones that are on their way, and we're excited about it.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do
have Arlen running for us, so we got to do good.
Yeah. We do have a couple more chat comments. I do want to say that Chadwick says Eric has a heart of gold. He also says, tell Eric C-Rob says hello. Chadwick, that's the point of the chat. You can just say hello.
Hey, Chadwick, I love you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Another, yeah, he's the best. Another a little bit more logistical question here is from our good friend Dr. Timothy Krell. He wants to know, are you guys going to have an EMS director? And he also says, and I'll put this in quotes for him, death is real in these events.
I've been practicing my mouth to mouth with my girlfriend every night.
For Tim.
for Tim. Specifically for Tim. I think I got it down pat. No, we're going to probably alert. We'll have the fire departments alerted that the race is coming through their town, and just like we do with the Tuscazor and in our other races. But we are looking for a possible medic or two to volunteer.
Well, right now we do have one volunteer that was a combat medic, and then nurse practitioner. He's retired now, and he's going to volunteer the whole time during the race. So he'll be at some point during the race the whole time also, besides us, letting the local authorities through each area we go through know that what we're doing.
So all of the races that we have, we always alert the local fire department that, hey, we have a race going on. It's going to be from here to there. Just be ready if you get any calls from us. And so they're pretty good about that. And we got a new box of latex gloves. I think Tim will enjoy. They're a little slipperier than the last box.
C-Rob says the way to prevent death, though, is to just eat ice cream at mile 140.
Hello.
So
ice cream cures everything.
KP Kelly's also in the chat, says looking forward to running this, and by run I mean mostly eat and walk. So
I was waiting for him to say something like that.
That's what I would do too. Also, one other thing.
Another good guy, man. We got some cool people signed up, man. We're excited already. Just seeing the people that have signed up so far. It's going to be fun. There's some good runners out there that come to our races, man. And they just become your buddies over time. It's just a blast. It's fun.
I'm assuming you guys are still looking for volunteers as well, right?
Oh, we're always looking for volunteers for the races. So what we did, Jeremey implemented this volunteer thingy that we have. It's called Brimstone Bucks. So when a runner or when a person comes and volunteers, for every hour that they volunteer, they get seven Brimstone Bucks, and they can apply that to any of our races. So we've got, people that have volunteered for like 10, 12-hour shifts. We just give them a code for, 70, 80, $90 towards whatever the race they want. Yeah. So,
and if your spouse is coming to watch you run and they don't want to just stand around, they can volunteer, and you can use their bucks towards for yourself. So you can give your Brimstone Bucks to anybody you want. So it kind of works out nice. It helps us. It helps you guys, whoever wants to.
And we feed them good.
Offset some of their costs on future race entries. And it works out great.
Yeah, I was reading through that, and I was like, that's, definitely very interesting to me, being close, not too far. I was like, this is great. And it's a very, I think, generous volunteer program. So It's awesome to see that
Well,
implemented.
I mean, we wouldn't be able to have the races without good volunteers. I'm telling you, that is the biggest part probably of the race is good volunteers.
Cool. Cam, we got some quick questions here, race director style.
We do have actually some race director specific quick questions, but one thing I just want to hit on before we go to that is I want to ask y'all about, you talk about you want to give back with each race, and then you also mentioned, the people who run and volunteer at these races, you get to know them and you end up becoming buddies, and you create that kind of relationship with them. So just talk a little bit more about what it means for you to be able to put on events where the event can do something, more than just be an event, right? It can give back. And then also how being a part of these events creates a community that has relationships where people will come and volunteer because they know that they want to run the race, and they want to be able to give back beforehand, or they've ran the race and, a volunteer really saved them when they were having a really bad time at an aid station their crew wasn't at. And now they're like, well, I need to come be that volunteer for somebody else. So just, talk about your perspective on that.
We always get runners that come and run our races, and then the next thing you know, they're volunteering at another one just because they love the race. And, maybe they're not trained up for it or weren't ready for it, but they still wanted to be there, so they come to volunteer. As far as the giving back, I think that's just the general mentality of a lot of us trail runners that, that's a huge part of our running community is giving back. You've got that group up in Cleveland, was it Run Forward and Giving Back? They do a great job. They raise so much money. Jennifer Douglas does it and raises a lot of money. There's some good race directors out there that they give money back to the community, to the parks, to different charities, and that's always been, it's just always been something that Jeremy and I do. We started with Eagle Up. We donate tons of money back to RWB from that race every year. And we even do one of our races, the Whispering Grace 100, which we moved to the fall, where we donate all the money back right to Whispering Grace because they provide free equine therapy for veterans. So, it's not all about the money. It's just about the community and the camaraderie and everybody taking care of everybody.
And people don't realize that when we go to a race, even though we put a lot of hard work into it, and you get there and you're like, oh, that was tough to get everything together. We get so much out of putting on these races and seeing people there and achieving goals and finishing and the joy that they have. It just gives us joy to see these people and people we've come to know and love, that they're achieving these goals and happy, and it makes us feel good. So not only are we giving back to the community and charities, but you guys, when you come and run, you don't realize how that gets us going and gives back to us too at the same time. It's a pretty cool thing.
Just all goes full circle.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I know I have personally a similar experience being at these events. You're always receiving so much more than you're giving, or at the very least, that's how I feel about these things. So
my favorite part though is my buddy JR. I met this guy at the Indiana Trail 100. And now he comes to all my races, J.R. Howard, and he brings me lots of ice cream every single race. I think he brought me 20 pints last time. I didn't even have enough room in the fridge. I had ice cream in the shop, at home. So, yeah, it does have perks, but, I mean, you do. You meet so many cool people, and you just become your friends for life. And it's awesome. And if Jeremy and I travel somewhere to just go run or race ourselves, you know how fun it is to be out there running a race and coming and running by people that have been at your race and stopping to say hi. And it's like you've got friends everywhere you go, and it's just so cool. I don't know. You can't beat it. It's just a great community.
Absolutely.
It's just the greatest community ever.
Absolutely. I think that's a great answer. If you have any last minute questions for our guys here, I just said it in the chat, but I'll let you know now. Feel free to ask those in the chat and I'll get them to them. But if not, we're going to go ahead and start our special race director edition quick questions to end the show here.
Oh my God.
And they're a little bit different than the ones we asked. We asked y'all, I believe our normal ones when we had you on to talk about the Tuscaloosa 100 last fall. So here we go. The very first one here is going to be, what's the thing you are most excited to stock your aid stations with?
Slushies.
Slushies are cool. Bacon.
Oh, Spam. Yeah, because Jeremy then makes a killer fried Spam sandwich. So when all the runners go through, whatever Spam is left, which is usually a lot, we make Spam sandwich.
Bacon's always good.
Yeah.
People love bacon, you can do so much with it. Make some bacon grilled cheese, whatever. So
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. All great answers. I will have to say Spam is a new one. I have not heard of Spam being served at a race before.
And usually people decline it, but that's okay. We eat it. I think I gained 20 pounds of just Spam butt by the time that Tuscaloosa is over.
Next question here says, is there anything on the course that the runners are going to think is a weird hallucination?
Other than shirtless crow late at night, of course.
Yeah. There's some.
I see an alligator in the canal. I don't.
You'll start seeing it in the canal. I don't know, man. I was up in the CVNP. I thought I was being chased by Ewoks one year. It was scary. I was pretty dehydrated. I don't know. Usually, when you're running by the canal at night, you see all kinds of things. You see eyeballs. You hear noises, splashes.
We saw a spaceship one.
Oh, one night, oh yeah. So Jeremy and I were running down the towpath one night, and we had no lights on our head, and it was pretty dark. And we saw these lights flying back and forth. We were convinced they were spaceships after a while.
First we didn't say anything, and then it was like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw that." "Did you see that?" "Yeah, I saw that." But it turned out not to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and I'll remove Roswell from the description of this race that we're going to put on the website. But just be aware if you see anything out there.
It's right around Butterbridge Road and Canal Fulton. You'll see the lights. It's not a spaceship.
All right. And you already talked about how kind of peaceful and serene this course is. And I have to agree that the towpath is just wonderful. But what is your favorite thing about the area that this race runs through?
Close to home.
I just love the trail, period. That trail, I think Jeremy and I have ran countless thousands of miles on this trail over the last decade. It's our home. It's important to us. We love it. We do whatever we can for the community with this trail, and this trail is our home. It's our passion. It's where I've logged most of my miles. My lifetime has been on this towpath trail. Yes, I'm a flat runner.
Fair enough. Since you know so much about this trail, then this question is probably best directed at you. What is the most interesting history part of this trail? Like what area has the most history or the most exciting history, or at least in your opinion?
I think Jeremy might have a different answer, but I honestly think right here in Canal Fulton, coming through Canal Fulton. Because what a lot of people don't realize is they had immigrant workers hand dug this canal out. And thousands upon thousands of people died, especially around this area. And there's buildings where there's a warehouse building right here on the trail that you run right by where they literally stacked thousands of bodies because they were running out of places to put them. And
there used to be tunnels from one building to another around here, from across the streets and everything.
And there was,
we know a lot of the history in Canal Fulton, so we think it's pretty cool.
It's haunted. It's scary. I mean, not scary like, it's just scary thinking about what actually went on 100 plus years ago when they actually made this canal, and during the canal, what went on. All the drunken debauchery here, and it was all saloons, and that's how I got my bike shop name, Brimstone. That's how we named Race Brimstone. If you want to hear the story real quick, there's an intersection right here in historic downtown Canal Fulton, and there used to be a saloon on all four corners, and a block away was the Opera House and the hotel where the president would stay. But these four corners, it was so bad. There was beatings and muggings and gambling and drinking, and the boat workers would get off the boat, and it was like party central here, and people were getting killed. Well, they ended up nicknaming the intersection Brimstone Corners way back in the day.
You'll still see it on some maps.
Yeah, so I ended up naming my bike shop Brimstone Bicycles after the intersection. And then when Jeremy and I partnered up, we were like, heck, we might as well name it Race Brimstone. And, it just kind of stuck. So, yeah, the history here in Canal Fulton, I am a little bit biased, but the history here is really cool. So it's running up through this area. It's short and sweet, but it's neat. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got to say, I grew up, 20 minutes south of there, or thereabouts in Yorksville, Ohio. So it's definitely there's a lot more history than you were just taught in all of your classes, and especially Fort Lawrence too, being on the course. That's really great. But another thing that we want to ask, and it seems like we've got a couple folks who are interested in running this or will be running this listening. What is the first thing that those folks should do post race, other than probably shower, since they've been out there for a while?
Eat Spam.
Post race. So, well, I guess it depends on how much they slept during the race.
I've never made it past 150 yet, so all I know is I just want to eat and sleep and shower. Mm-hmm. So, everybody does their own thing. Some people, they stay up and walk around. I personally I'm down. I'm done.
Yeah, you're probably gonna want to eat. Get some nutrition back in you.
Yeah, but the finish line at Camp Tuscarawas, there's a lot of cabins there. So the runners more than likely will rent out these cabins for the night before and when they get back, so that they have some downtime, and probably just eat, hang around the bonfire with us. Tell us about all the scary stuff they saw for the 200 miles, all the wild animals that were chasing them up and down the trails.
Lockport Brewery is right around the corner there, so maybe go down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to mention I believe it was Lockport where me and Alex Jackson went after I ran the Tuscarawas 25 miler. What feels like a lifetime ago, I think in 2019. But yeah, that's definitely a good recommendation as well. If you're, if you've slept plenty on the course and you're up to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, next question. And so, next question we got here is if you could have anyone, any person in the history of the world run this race, the same rules apply, even if they aren't a runner. Let's say they are and can finish it. Who would it be and why?
Last time you asked, it was who would we want to run with?
Yes.
Now you're asking us who we want to run the race.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little twist. We like that.
Oh,
for you,
man.
For you race
I was studying for this, and you just blew all my studying.
I want somebody to come out and set a record. And who that is, I don't know. So I don't know if I care who it is. I'd like to see somebody come out and set a 200-mile record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
that's a tough question.
Well, we are going to clip you saying I don't know who that's going to be and send that to.
I'd love to see my son
watch it like every morning.
World record pace would be sweet.
I'd have to see. I don't know. Just somebody that's really fun and happy. I want to see fun, happy people come run this race.
Leslie Harden.
Chadwick, you better sign up for this race. You're a fun, happy people.
Yeah, he is definitely one of those fun, happy people.
Oh,
As he texted us earlier or messaged us in Instagram, we got to switch from Fireball shots to Hennessy shots. So we'll have to bring those. Did you see that comment, Cam?
Boy, if he's screwing Tim ain't going to make it 30 miles.
I did not see that. I don't think I'm physically capable of taking a Hennessy shot mid-race. I will say, I would love to see Chadwick out there doing bottle service at aid stations.
You know what I would like to see?
Aid station Hennessy's, yeah.
I would like to see a disabled vet come out and do this 200 miles with their hand cycle. I think that would be cool. Somebody that wasn't able to run but could do it by hand. I think that would be something really spectacular to watch. I think that would be cool to see. So
you could do that on this course, right? There's no stairs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's only one hill that would, somebody might need a little bit of assistance, where I would be more than happy, even myself, to be there waiting for that person. If somebody wanted to come and do that, that would be neat. We do have a couple of hand cyclists that actually do eagle up. It's pretty cool to see them when they hit 100 miles. It's spectacular.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. That is a great answer. And, we'll do what we can as the media guys, see if we can find that person. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. But are there any sponsors, social media, anybody you'd like to thank, anything you'd like to plug, kind of the floor is yours, guys. And just, say what you want to say.
Well, we plugged Hoist. Hammer's always been a great sponsor for us.
Yeah, Hammer's always been a good sponsor.
I do also have to say Whitefish Montana Company. So, Northwestern Montana.
Jeremy's a real estate agent, so if anybody's selling their house or moving, call Jeremy. Well, I own the Brimstone bike shop, but a lot of you probably don't live around here that are listening to this.
We can plug our Nomies races coming up here in a couple weeks, May 14th. It's a pretty, if you want a tough but super fun trail race, this is the one for you.
It's the Tuscazor 100 condensed into 25K or 50K. It's brutal and fun.
It's a much different course, but it's all on Tuscazor. Tough course. We had a lot of people run it last year say this is one of the toughest 50K or 25K courses I've run, but man, it was the funnest.
Yeah.
And a lot of different terrain through there, and it's a fun race. So if you're looking for something fun to do in a few weeks, come out and check out Nomies.
And if you race fun, check out urultra.com.
Yeah, and they say fun terrain, and I will say also directly up a drainage.
Yes.
And directly down a river bed.
I call it Shit's Creek is what I called that one, because it just felt like I was just walking through water the whole way down, and then you have to climb up a bunch of rocks to get back out of it.
Yeah. You should have been there for cleanup when we pulled out a foot of muck out of it to dry 2 weeks before the race. It was awful.
We did add a 9 mile option to that. Yeah. So if you're not feeling up to,
it's 9-ish.
Yeah, 9-ish miles. If you're not feeling up to 25 or 50K. So you only have to run down that little spring ravine and not back up it. So if you get a 9 mile.
Awesome.
All right.
I would also recommend if you are looking for a race that's fun, it's definitely worth it. So doing it last year, it's just a year ago.
Absolutely. Can't agree more with that. And we're so grateful for you guys to have you on again. We were super stoked to see this race and see where it goes. But that was Ridge Runners Live with Race Brimstone, Eric and Jeremy talking about the Run Devil Run 200 miler. We were so excited to hear about this. And we'll see you guys, I don't know, ideally next week. Maybe no more months off, John. What do you think?
I think we'll be back next week.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.